Thank you. Cameron, we have this gift card from Amazon. So let's recognize Cameron Hostmeister is the first achievement, I believe, for this year. All right.
Speechless. I know, you gotta. What's your boss?
I just wanted to say thank you.
That
Thank
does,
you.
that's it. You got it. Well done. All right, good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. It's English. Cameron, thank you so much. Sounds like the values you embody and you take into your day-to-day are values that we here share and acknowledge and honor. So thank you for joining us today, and thank you for all your good work. Next on our agenda, we're going to do some, we've got a lot going on, so we're just going to kind of talk about those things. And I'm excited about that because I'm going to ask Kathy Thompson to come up and talk about Adopt a Family and kind of where we're at and what we need to do. Just give an update and answer any questions. And then afterwards, I'll have Terry come up and a few others. So.
Okay, so we are doing pretty well. I think we have filled all the requests for the gifts and the cards, so thank you everybody for doing that. If you have not given me your gifts or cards, please talk to me so that I can get those to the schools tomorrow or Wednesday. Any questions? Yes. So we wanted to do 30 for LP Brown, and then McKinney, I think there's, she kept adding them, and she put them in numbers, or in letters, so there's M's, up to the M's. However many that is families.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About 15, I think.
About 15 families.
Yeah, great, thanks, Kathy. Yeah, and about twice as many kids as last year too. So if you haven't gotten involved, please do. And there are many ways to do so. Oh, Sam's gonna go next and talk about bell ringing, and then Terry's gonna talk.
Pushy Sam. I'm acing out Terry here. That's because I have things that were circulating around. One of them is for the bell ringing on Saturday, December 17. You folks have been terrific signing up. We still have a few slots. Please look at it if you haven't signed up. And if you have signed up and aren't going to do it, Jim, cross your name off. But anyway, and particularly look at the 2 to 4 slot on the south door, because right now nobody's on that. Every other one we have somebody on it. Secondly, Sean, do you want to hold that up? We're circulating around. Scranton, plug your ears. Stanton, we do include a tip service fee when we pay the $20, but once a year we add a little extra for Stanton for the wonderful service he provides to us, and that's being passed around. So thank you very much.
Now, Terry. Terry Ferguson's going to talk about caring for kids. Thank you, Sean, for distributing that. Oh, and here's with the. Oh, down there.
Okay, we got everything clear up now? Okay. Good afternoon. It's almost, yeah, it is afternoon now. So I am delighted. I put some little flyers on the tables. So they're kind of, because I cut them up this morning, so it's a little raggedy, but it has some basic information. On January 26th, we're back to an in-person breakfast for caring for kids. And I went back and I did a little homework about 2021, because last year we did it virtually. And we made 28 grand clear because I conned everybody into doing everything free, and we did it online, so we didn't have to pay for a place or the food or anything. But we're back now where we will be paying for our breakfast, and we'll have a different set of things. We made about $22,000 in 2021, and that, I believe, was after the expenses that we paid. I'm sure, I was trying to figure that out with Karen this morning, but I think it was like closer to 30,000, but by the time we paid all the bills, it was 22. So we had 24 table captains. Now, this event, the power of the event is the table captains. We have a wonderful committee that's working together to reach out to you all across the landscape of Kiwanis. But the real key are the table captains. And we had in 2061, we had 24 table captains. The champions were John and Sam. They both had 3 tables, 3 full tables apiece at the Worthington Center breakfast place. Others, Jeff Lane had 2 tables worth, Denise had 2 tables worth, Karen Frazier, and Mary Hall all had 2 tables apiece. Everybody else had 1. So we had 257 people that showed up, and we made 22 grand with all the expenses gone. I'd like to see us break that mark this year and get ourselves closer to 30 grand. We still have the same amount of tables. We're going over this afternoon, Mary and Kathy and I, to case the joint at St. Martin's, as I would say. They don't usually say that, but I do. So we're taking a look at how the table layout is, and I'm aiming for, now that I know the numbers from 2021, I'm aiming for 250 people, because if they did it, we can do it. And so we'll be, on the little brochures on the table, we'll be informing you more and more. But Jeff Lane, Denise, Karen, Sam, John, Mary Hall, and then we had almost another 20 table captains here that all had at least 1 full table, if not 7 or 8 people. So we're going to be calling you, because we got you now. I found this list. Thank you, Lord. And so we'll be reaching out to see if you would be willing to do that again, and if you maybe have a friend who would be willing to do it. And then it's getting money out of people. So it's not just getting them to come, but then it's getting them to donate as much as we can get them to donate. And we had some wonderful sponsors. The reason that we made that amount of money last year on the Caring for Kids is we had some great sponsors that put in $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a piece at the front end. So I don't want to just name out their names, but I'm going to be doing some research with our team on the committee, and we'll get back to you. But if you know people that would be willing to make a $3,000, $5,000 contribution for Caring for Kids, and then the money will go to the Olympia students, and it'll go directly to them on scholarships and a variety of things, and some things that are indirect to support us being able to help them with the garden, with the wood shop, and all the stuff that we do. So every cent of it will be doing something for the young people in Olympia. So thank you very much for your attention. I look forward to hounding you until we get this done on the 26th of January. Have a happy holiday.
Thank you, Terry. Thanks to everyone working on that committee. It's a big deal, and you're doing a great job, so we're looking forward to it. Let's see, next on our list is, okay, so Sam has done his bit, so don't need to, so we're gonna move along. So I asked Anna to talk about the Ole on Ice event that happened this past weekend, because the membership committee and others worked really hard to have a successful event down at Ole on Ice, which is a annual thing that's been happening for a few years. And Anna was down there with Key Club students, and it was a really great presence. And one of the things I just will say about it before I get out of the way is that I thought this was an important project in some ways, because it came through the membership committee structure, but there were a lot of individuals that had a very grassroots feel to it, and I think a lot of our work does. But I was really pleased to see that different volunteers who we may not see in some traditional roles stepped forward and helped us pull this event off. So it was really great, and I appreciated that. And some of the materials that are up here that Anna can talk about are just beautiful. So I've got some photos, so I'm going to go try to do that and hand it over to Anna.
Thank you very much, and thank you for that nice introduction, Jonathan. The background, as some of you have heard already or read, is that 4 members of the club agreed to be, out of their own pockets, be sponsors on behalf of the club for Ole on Ice. So our logo is down there. As you can see, that's my son Patrick from a few weeks ago. And so we had the sponsorship, and along with that came the opportunity to do a promotional booth. So Joe Ellen let me know that, and we then took it to the membership committee and discussed it as a possible way to just get our name out there and have people stop by and invite them to learn more about what the club does, with the hope of potentially becoming members, coming in more involved. So we then broadened it to include the involvement of the Key Club members. So that was really the collaboration was between the membership committee and the Key Club, and then also with Farah, who is on the membership committee. She jumped right in and helped us to design new promotional materials, many of which have been handed out. So as you can see there, and so the way the event went down was that we had the booth set up there inside. Let me just stop for a minute and ask for a show of hands. How many people have actually been inside the Ole on Ice facility? Let's see how many people have been there. Okay, well, good. It is worth stopping by and checking out. I mean, it's a pretty neat facility. Having grown up in Olympia when we did not ever have an ice skating rink here, it's a special thing that the city does, and it's a lot of fun. You see people of all ages there. So anyway, it was a collaboration with the membership committee and then the Key Club, and then we were able to work together to have new promotional materials. So we sat at a table, and we had at the table, I'm just going to show you some of the, well, I guess you already saw them, but we handed out hot cocoa packets, and we have some left over with our card, and the card says, Kiwanis Club of Olympia. The Kiwanis Club of Olympia focuses on service, community building, friendships, and personal growth, and then directs people to the website. And then we also had Key Club members walking around handing out the candy canes that the people donated with the card as well. And I can say the candy canes were more popular than the hot cocoa packets.
Good to know.
Thus, we have a little bit of an overflow. So what worked really well was it was the first time that I personally had a chance to work with the Key Club members, and I was so energized. And it was just a delight. We had 4 from Ole and 2 from Capital. The kids from Ole signed up for the full 6 hours. Wow. So note to self, if you're planning an event with young people and it overlaps with dinner, make sure you have some dinner. But overall, it was just a really wonderful, fun experience, and I was amazed. There were a lot of people who'd never heard of Kiwanis, didn't know anything about it, so it was great to be able to point them to the Key Club and the food bank and the wood pile and the youth program for youth interested in going to law enforcement and the cancer program, among other things. So it was just really a lot of fun, and there's some tweaks for next year. I think overall it went well. However, I think next year we might want to consider potentially doing it after the holidays. There's just so many competing events right now. We might have had more involvement from the club and everything. We planned it for January. Also, 6 hours is a really long time to be in a really cold facility. So we might want to shorten it. We thought about handing out hot cocoa, giving people the actual hot cocoa, but one of the rules is that you couldn't be handing out food or drink when there was a vendor present. So we might want to time it in the evening on maybe a Tuesday or something when there might not be an ice cream truck selling hot cocoa, because a lot of kids came up and wanted the actual drink. So those are just a couple of things to think about if we go ahead and do it next year. But thank you to everyone who helped and Frank, I have to acknowledge Frank. Frank came down and helped set up. So thank you, Frank, my volunteer who helped set up, and then we had a lovely, help take everything down. And so but if anyone has any questions, then I'll quickly hand it off to Jonathan. All right, well, thank you so much.
Did you do a double axle? I heard that.
You had to be there to know that.
Well, thanks to everybody who did that. That is super fun. I stopped by with my 15-year-old daughter, and she's at North Thurston, and she's got a little bit of a hard time fitting in, finding her place. And when we were walking out, she's like, you know those Key Club kids, they were pretty cool. I was like, yeah, maybe you should come. So that was satisfying for me. Okay, so next I wanted to call on Jim Hutchinson.
Won't take much time here.
We're getting in the process of wrapping up the poinsettia sale. This has been an ongoing fundraiser for our club for at least 35 years. How long do you think, Sam? I've been involved with it for at least that long, so probably 40 years total.
1988.
Yeah, that was what I had remembered. So sales year to date, about 11,500 with probably about $4,600 net. That's in addition to working with the robotics group that's at the high school. They have worked with us, and what we've done there in the past is allowed them to sell, and then we turn over any of the profits to them directly for their fundraising things. So thank you all for your help, and we'll see you next year. Thanks. Sam.
Very unusual, the nursery wasn't able to provide poinsettias of all colors this year.
Well, let me bring you up to date on that. Actually, the Dagotes are going to be selling their business. So there may be some changes next year that we'll have to work through. I know even their employment down there has been significantly cut back in preparation for the sale. So probably in the springtime. I certainly have enjoyed working with them over all these years. They have been great to work with, you know, meeting our kind of specific demands, and just been a good group to work with.
Sure hope it continues to be local.
Yes, there's another group, well, the other Dagotes, they're like cousins, first or second cousins, Windmill Nursery up in Sumner, but I don't think they have the different sizes. They don't have multiple delivery dates, so we may need to look at some changes. Other questions? Kathy?
Thank you for doing it for so long. You did a great job.
Oh, thank you. We kind of worked out the kinks over the years.
Jim, thank your staff who thought they were going to work for a dental.
Yeah.
Instead of a poinsettia service.
It's a great program, and it's a great way to get the name out into our community and do some growth too. So thank you for everybody's involvement in that. So I'm going to ask actually Dan Myers to come up for a minute and talk about some membership-related issues related to Portal Buzz, and just kind of think about some programming. But before I introduce Dan, come on up. I just wanted to say that many of you completed a survey that asked about your opinions moving forward as far as in-person meetings and Zoom meetings. And I just wanted to let folks know that that's a conversation that's ongoing. And it's complicated because of COVID going up and down. It's complicated because we have people who can't come to an hour-and-a-half meeting in Olympia. It's complicated because there's an expense associated with it. And it's complicated because there's a lot of pressure to get together and be together and to have speakers in person and engage with one another, because that's invaluable. And weighing those things together is what the conversation has been. So the survey that we distributed, which went out to everybody, all 100 members, and 47% of members responded. And the majority of them said they liked the hybrid model. Now that's not everybody, so it's not a consensus, and so it's just something to think about. But I did want to relay that the board is actually going to take up this conversation at its next meeting, which is not this week, but the following. And we're going to get some perspective from the programming committee about that and moving forward. So just to let you know that that's something that is ongoing, and if you have additional thoughts about it, feel free to do the survey again, or just reach out to me or anybody on the board and let us know how you're feeling. So John, did you want to say something?
Yeah, next week are we still on with the update from Ukraine?
Yeah. Seems to me that ought to be an in-person meeting. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree in that, but yet I don't think we can kind of do it this or that. But Tom's here, so Professor Rainey, I'll talk to you before the end of the day.
Tom's not doing it.
Oh.
It's a woman from the Western Review.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, we'll see, John. We'll see. Any other thoughts about that, about the survey? I really don't want to engage in a big conversation, but if somebody has additional
Well, how many
thoughts.
people responded?
47 people responded.
47.
And 63% of them said that they prefer the hybrid model, which is this. And Zoom totally malfunctioned today. So that you know, the fact that Zoom is tricky and it's on my iPhone and is hard. But to get the, you know, we don't necessarily want to invest in teleconferencing technology here. So how do we balance those things? So, but for the people who do have at-home experiences and do on Zoom, we want it to work. So I think we need to do a little better than John's cell phone, which doesn't always work. So, any other comments on that? I appreciate everybody's patience, and I do our attendance at in-person and Zoom on a weekly basis are pretty similar, which is about 40 people, and that's great. So I'm just happy to see people engaging anyway. There's a good chunk of folks who don't engage one way or the other, and they engage in other ways, and that is positive too. But I'd also like to see more folks, you know, in the room or on the call. So with that, I've talked enough. Dan, you want to talk a little bit about what we were chatting about?
Thank you. I'm a co-chair of the Membership Growth and Education Committee, and Anna, I didn't talk to you about what I'm about to do, so sorry. Anna's my co-chair, and so before I get started, Jim Hutchinson, 36. All right. So I was one of my jobs in the Membership Committee co-chair is to make sure that members get their blue badges, and so I was trying to figure out, gosh, how do I, and I know John Halverson did such a great job of giving me records and all that kind of stuff. I thought in the portal buzz, which I've kind of looked at and used a little bit recently because of this role that I have, trying to get a hold of people and ask them certain questions about, you know, whether or not they've completed the badge requirements and such to get a blue badge rather than the new member gold badge. And so I went into Portal Buzz. Has anybody used Portal Buzz? Okay, good. It's kind of tricky, and maybe one day we'll do a demo. But I was going through it looking to see if I could figure out who joined the club and see if I could get new members, you know, recent members, and you know, can the reports and such give me that kind of information. Well, we really couldn't do that because I don't have the administrative authorizations to run reports, but I was able to run a directory of sort, and I noticed it gave me information like date joined, and so I thought that was really good, and so I was able to do the thing that I was wanting to do, and I communicated with the people who I needed to communicate with. I'm not going to talk about that, but what I am going to talk about was I found it very remarkable that we have members in this club, and I don't know if everybody knows this, but we have members in this club who joined in 1976. Okay, so Don Law, 46 years with the Kiwanis Club of Olympia. What do you think about that? Walt Bowen, I don't know if Walt's here. He's usually here, but he's not here today. But he has 37 years. Jan Britt has 35 years. Lucille Carlson has 35 years. Lucille's usually here too. Doug DeForest, 34 years. Now, and again, I can't verify. Yeah. I can't verify this information because it's just what the report said. So, I mean, if I missed you, I apologize. Jim Hutchinson, 36 years. I did miss him on my original list. John Drevick, 41 years. Gary Edwards, 35 years. Marla Kentfield, 33 years. Sam Reed, 40 years. I know. Charles Chelan. Is Charles Chelan here? He's got 41 years. 41 years, you guys. Dan Secord, 33 years. Dan's here. I saw him. And Derek Valley, 38 years. I just think that's remarkable, you guys. And we hired. We brought in. I had my HR hat on. Sorry about that. Retired HR guy. But we brought in 20 new members last year. And I mean, which is really cool, but I don't know that even people who've been around a while knew that our members have been such long term. So hats off to you guys, and thank you for your service to this club, and we and the membership group look forward to continuing that legacy, which is remarkable. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. Great reminder, super interesting information. Yeah, Portabuzz is great. We're going to think about what you would do in Portabuzz, or think about if you've gone in and used it and felt confused by it. And what I'd like to do is spend 10 or 15 minutes one week talking about it, because I use it a lot, because it's a really easy way to interface with KI. It's a really easy way to send emails to everybody. It's a way to check on administrative stuff that Charles and I do. So it's useful, and it could be used more. Joellen has something to say.
It's also useful to remember what people look like when you forget someone's name.
Yeah.
Which has never happened.
Yeah. So it's a wealth of information, a veritable plethora of information. And yes.
Are we still planning perhaps with training?
Yes.
Yes, great.
So we talked about in membership of doing membership minutes, which is kind of an opportunity to talk about aspects of Kiwanis that not everybody may be aware of, such as longevity of members, as well as Kiwanis Club. So Portabuzz. So as you're thinking of these things, let the membership committee know, and we can fit it into the weekly stuff. So next up, I think that's all the announcements. Does anybody else have an announcement? Terry Bergson has another announcement.
I have the list of who he brought, a dim table. I've got a list of all the people he brought in 2021. And I would be happy to share the names because that was 2 years ago. So my number is 360-870-4040. Don't catch me saying or call me. 360-870-4040.
I just wanted to talk about Key Club for 1 second. Matt's here, and Matt was at the meeting on Friday. And how many students were in the orchestra room on Friday?
I don't know, it was like 80 to 100 to me.
80 to 100 Key Club members at Olympia High School. So, and Rose was at Capitol last week as well. I don't know if you want to say anything about Capitol.
They have a small liquor room now. No, they were very welcoming, and they talked about all the events that we have going on and requesting people volunteer. So I think that was great.
And so if anyone else is interested, they have a district convention happening March 31st through April 2nd in Seattle. And with that many students, we may need more chaperones. So if you're interested at all, send me an email. Also, we may need more money. So we might need to fundraise more. But it's a good problem to have. So I just wanted to talk about Keep Home.
Oh, I didn't win. Good. Renee.
Yay! I'm cheating at the Key Club.
Hey, nice.
And Stanton, can you come up here for a minute, please? I know you're busy. Anyways, Stanton and I have been working on getting us back into this room for lunch, and we just so much appreciate the service that he provides us at these in-person meetings and working with us very closely, trying to get us back here to have lunch, and we appreciate you very much. Happy holidays.
Thank you very much, guys. It's a pleasure. I really appreciate it. Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure taking care of you. It's really glad to have you back in the room again, and looking forward to you guys starting to maybe. There's been talk I've heard about you guys come back every week instead of twice a month. So, we'll see if that happens. I'd love it. Anyway, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Felt like we were going to do like a Seahawks game, like volume meter thing there for in-person meetings. So, in our last 10 minutes, we're going to do Happy Dollars. I'm going to start with 5 Happy Dollars, which is for the work that Key Club is doing, the work that some of our volunteers have been doing at the food bank. We had a successful food bank participation event and everything people are doing. So thank you for all of that work. And anybody else have some Happy Dollars? I understand there was some sports situation. There usually is. Anybody? Zoom Happy Dollar.
First, 2 committee announcements. The program committee this coming Monday via Zoom, we're going to have what should be a very interesting meeting regarding Ukraine. The state director of Boys and Girls Clubs is from Ukraine. Her family is still living there. She's very personally involved with what is going on, and she's going to share those stories with us. I asked her, I don't want to hear about the military, I don't want to hear politics, I want to hear, how's this affecting you? How is this affecting your family? So it ought to be very interesting. Second committee report is History Committee, and next Monday we're going to have a history presentation by Dave Hansen, and it's going to be regarding the Kiwanis Widows Home. So that'll be, and finally for my Happy Dollar, it's a sad dollar. On the front page of the Olympian the other day, it was a big article about Dave Weber, a former member of our club. Dave was a great guy. He was then the athletic director for the Evergreen State College. He was the author of the chapter on the 70s, the original book that we did back about 20 years ago. So anyway, wonderful guy. I was just sorry to see he passed.
Thank you.
Hi, me again on behalf of the membership committee, my co-chair Dan. So we are wanting to incorporate education about the club as part of our mission this year and always. And so this is a new approach, which is to include a little educating along with my Happy Dollars. And so I just have to give $6 for those 6 awesome Key Club volunteers who I got to meet and hang out with. And for some of our newer members, here's the education part. I did not know this, but KEY stands for Kiwanis Empowering Youth.
Wow.
That's where the key in Key Club, that's what it stands for, guys. So, and then the principals, and I'm already starting to think about how I can get my now 8th grader into the OHS Key Club next year. But their principles of the Key Clubs are leadership, character building, caring, and inclusiveness. Great principles to instill in our youth. So with that, 6 Happy Dollars, and I'll let someone else talk.
Yes, I'd just like to say I feel a little badly today. Badly, is that a word? I guess that's an adverb modifying. Yeah. Anyway, when your president said, "Are there any guests that any of you would like to introduce?" Yeah, I was left standing unintroduced, if that's a word. I'm your visiting, and I can understand that. I feel like a duck out of water. That's probably why I happen to be a Duck fan. Here's $1 for not being introduced. I feel like a duck out of water. I used to belong to this club, if you believe that. Back in 92, that's 1992, my wife and I were sent here by the Salvation Army to be the local administrators, the captain, major of the Salvation Army, and I joined the Olympia Club. So I used to be a member of this club. So if that helps me to get introduced next time when I'm visiting you as a lieutenant governor, that would be good. Now, I'm also, and I'm paying for this, I'm also a happy 49er. And I don't mean to rub that in. The 49ers have lost 2 quarterbacks this year. The first quarterback was the one that was gonna replace the one that was getting all the money. And then he broke his foot. So they brought in the fella that had been the quarterback, and lo and behold, 2 weeks ago, he had a problem and he's out for the year. So they brought in a brand new quarterback. He's just getting broken in. He's won the last 2 games for the 49ers, yes. Yesterday he scored 30, he didn't, but the team did 37 against Tampa Bay, that has that guy that's really looked up to as a quarterback. So, next time I come, I hope somebody will introduce me, saying that I used to be a member of this club. And there's $1 for that. And $1, what was that for? Yeah, were you ever my dentist? No, I don't think so. I can't remember back that far. But here is another $1, because this Thursday night, the 49ers and the Seahawks. Now, I don't like to rub dirt into the face of anybody. Well, never mind, I won't say that, yes. But this Thursday night, you'll want to watch that game. Usually we have trouble with the Seahawks, and you'll probably beat the 49ers this week. Isn't that right, Sam? Yeah, there's $1 for that. And then I'd like to also thank you for your support as your Lieutenant Governor. As you know, I put a lot of miles on my car, and each of the clubs in the division helped with a stipend, and you did last year, and I'm thankful for that. This quarter alone, I put 570 miles on my car, I believe, visiting clubs. I've been a lieutenant governor 8 different times in 3 different districts, and this job as lieutenant governor in this division is the biggest division spread out. So thank you for your support. I appreciate it. My wife and I are going to Canada. I need a rest. So does she. She's doing the Adopt a Family program for Salvation Army still. And we thank you. I thank you on behalf of the Salvation Army for your bell ringing. And thank you for your smiles that will bring in money and help many people. Thank you. Is that more than $5 worth?
Yeah.
Okay, well, just send me an invoice. Go ahead.
I'll just take maybe 20 minutes more than Al this time.
I used to be a preacher.
I would never have guessed. $10 $100. I'm going to have all of my kids, all of my grandkids home for Christmas this year.
$20 happy dollars.
Thank you, Tom.
My wife and I, Nina Carter and I, just returned from an extremely successful book tour in my home state of Florida. And it culminated with a trip to my hometown, Wauchula, and we had to make the compulsory visit to the best cracker restaurant in the whole world, which Frank can attest to because he's been there. It was Catfish Night when we got there. And I walked in, and about 3 people stood up and said, "Is that Tommy Rainey?" 60 years ago, I saw them when we graduated. That was the last time I'd seen them. So anyway, it was a wonderful trip, and go Gators.
John Zarowski. I spent Thanksgiving in Boston at my daughter's house. I had cooking duty, and apparently I didn't do a very good job. My daughter took a few bites and had her husband take her to the hospital. 7 hours later, my second granddaughter was born. Olivia Bliss weighing in at 7 pounds, 3 ounces, 20.5 inches tall.
Beat that, John.
Last but not least, John Runsley here. I had a wonderful event in the last few days. I had a birthday, and I discovered I am 26 years old. And that is because next year I'll be 25 away from 100. But the bank can't figure that out, so I'm not giving you a check for 26, it's for 74.
I have happy dollars for Anna for sitting in the cold for 6 hours
Yeah.
yesterday.
Right.
Thank you.
That is a lot to be grateful for and happy for. Thank you all for sharing your stories, a little bit of your lives, and spending some time together today. I think that is going to do it. We have a finance committee coming up next week. Check in with Sean if you have any questions about that, and then our board meeting is the week after that. We have a Zoom meeting for next Monday, and then the week after Christmas we are off. So that's the 26th, I believe. So there you go. Oh, one more thing.
No.
From Sam.
January 3rd, we're back for presentation
January
by the legislature.
Ah, great, perfect, good. And who's going to be doing that this year?
JT Wilcox, and we thank Sam Hunt, but he's in Hawaii, so
Ah.
what are we doing?
The legislative preview.
That'll be Zoom.
Yeah.
And it is by Zoom.
Yeah, exactly.
And the 3rd is a Tuesday.
Bear that in mind.
It's a Tuesday.
The stand where we're coming?
No, we're doing it by Zoom. It's a Zoom.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
Don't forget to.
You have change, make the can for Kiwanis Cancer, or Children's Cancer Fund.
Thank you,
Cans
Kurt.
on the door, or cans on the table.
Thank you to Kurt and Rose for doing our greetings today and checking in. Really appreciate it. Thanks to all of us. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. We're adjourned.
So